So, sadly, your dad passed away a few months ago. And how are you feeling now, the change that's gone on? The dynamics completely changed with your family. And I was just wondering how you and Ricky are handling all that.
It's just so, even though, I still feel like it's not fair because, but we all probably
Well, it doesn't seem real to me.
Right.
Because I'm just waiting for him to walk in Christmas Eve and, JP's
so nice.
here.
He's so healthy. So, because of the fact that I didn't know my mom's parents, and then my dad's parents died when I was I don't remember them at all either. So I never had anybody really close to me die until my mom died. So I don't think everybody needs to experience death, but I'm just saying,
No, you're going to.
Yes,
maybe not that early.
Yeah, but I do feel like I wonder if I would have had a grandparent die just at normal grandparent time. Yeah. Sure, it would have hurt and everything, but to have just such a big person ripped out of my life and never have experienced death before.
I don't know if it would have changed it.
Yeah,
it's still your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom died when I was 35. She got sick when I was in my late 20s. And then my dad lived to be 84.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he was going to be 85 in January, but he died in August. And so, people have said, what do you think is better? That's what what do you think is better? The shock of someone dying or knowing that they're going to die? I'm like, I really don't. I feel like my dad was such a shock, but had lived a full life. Granted, another thing that I always say, I love to talk about how it's not fair, which none of it's not fair, but why didn't they work so hard to get to a point, 40 years married, they were getting ready to live the easy street or whatever, and then she got cancer and died, and I'm just like, that's so not fair. That's just my way of coping, saying it's not fair. But I have to, I feel very sad about my dad, and I've cried, and I still have those impulses that I think I need to call him.
Go check on Dad.
Yeah, or I have to tell him this, or I wonder. It's just, this is going to be our first Delaware Beach trip without him, and he's been such a big part of all of our planning because we always wanted to make sure he was happy.
Yeah.
We didn't want him to complain.
Have some golf involved.
Yeah, have some golf involved. We were just all so happy that he constantly still wanted to do that every summer. So this is our first summer not having that. So I haven't had the mental complete breakdown with losing him.
Might happen at the beach.
It could.
Here's one thing I'm going to commend Brad for, though, because he always made sure that your dad, like you were talking about a trip, I can't even remember where the trip was. Maybe it was a cruise, and they were saying, no, you can't go play golf. They canceled on him or something, and Brad's like, no, we're going.
Yeah, that's a really great story.
Yeah.
He was at
You tell it, because I don't tell it right.
Oh.
I've recently just heard that story.
Oh, are you?
Maybe
you
it was
heard
at the
it
funeral.
Oh, so you heard it before.
Yeah.
So we had gone on a cruise, I don't know how many years ago it was. It was a long time. Darby was maybe little, like a teenager kind of thing. And my dad was trying to play a lot of different golf courses in his life. He kept a list. He exceeded 400 different golf courses.
That's amazing.
Not played 400. He played way over 400 times, but 400 different courses. So he wasn't a huge traveler, and so when you don't literally travel the world to find new golf courses, it gets kind of hard to find new ones to play. And so going on this cruise, he was going to be able to play a new golf course somewhere outside of Cancun or somewhere, I believe. So we were on a cruise that was in Mexico, and you know how you do the port stops and they have excursions. So one of the excursions was golf, and Brad and my dad signed up for it. So we got home that night to our cabin. I guess my dad had probably already gone to bed. And when we got home, there was a piece of paper under the door that said the golf trip had been canceled due to not enough participation, not enough people signed up. And so, that whole thing was booked by the cruise, so that meant the cruise was going to have the shuttle to get them there and blah, blah, blah. So Brad was like, oh, man. your dad's going to be so pissed. What are we going to do? And I'm like, he went down to the desk and they were like, sir, sorry, we're just it's canceled. So Brad, we made the decision to not tell my dad that it was canceled, and Brad was just going to wing it. So Brad and my dad get off the boat in the morning, and Brad like hails an Uber or a cab or something, I don't know, and says, let's go to this golf course. And then remember, when you're on a cruise and you're taking cruise-sponsored excursions, you sort of feel, I don't know if safe is the right word, but it's just all seems more planned.
Yeah.
You're not going to have...
When there's no guarantees if you miss the boat.
Well, the boat's not going to leave you. That's the
with that
biggest
one.
thing.
Yeah.
If you're on the boat planned excursion, the boat will not leave you. And it's got some more guarantees with it. Not as if, two men getting in an Uber and traveling into Mexico. My dad being one of them, one of the men. And so they got to the golf course. It was some very exclusive golf course. And the people told them, you can't play here. It's for members only. And Brad was saying, we were supposed to come on the boat. It got canceled. We're here. We're playing. And apparently my dad was like, what's going on? What's the matter? And Brad was just like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So somehow they got to play, and it was very expensive. So because they weren't members, because they didn't come on the cruise, it was some ridiculous number, and Brad just paid it. Luckily, just don't even get John, Paul, and Bob.
Yeah.
Because that would have made him mad. He would have said some cuss words, I guess. And so...
which I never heard him say, but...
Really?
Never.
Oh. That's funny, because as he got older, he has said some things, and even to me. And I would always jump back and go, excuse me.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah. And he said, he dropped an F-bomb in front of me one time, and I was like...
I can't
my
believe
jaw
that.
was open.
My jaw is open now. I'm like, what?
So then I was shopping somewhere, and I found these stickers, and it said something real cute with the F word. It was funny with the F word. And I gave him that for Christmas, and he was like, oh, throw that out. It's like, you're the one that said it to me. And my brother and Kenneth Lamar were playing golf with him one time, and Kenneth videoed him. Now, sadly, we can't find that video, but it's him dropping the F-bomb and swinging the golf club. And it was so fun. I don't know where it went.
He probably was like, I'm with the guys. So
Yeah.
I can say what I want.
Yeah. But anyway, so
cute.
they let him on the golf course. They got to play golf, and it was probably like 110 degrees. So it was really bad, and then somehow they had to call an Uber and get back. And anyway, just the whole day, I was just fingers crossed they get there, fingers crossed nothing happens to them, fingers crossed they get back before the boat takes. And anyway, so we didn't tell him that. We didn't even tell him that on the cruise. We waited until we got back, and he couldn't even believe it. But
We didn't talk about the price, though, right?
yeah, I don't think we ever brought that up, and I
Yeah.
think I just wrote that off
Yeah.
as a loving my father expense.
Well, I'm sure you got a little money somehow from him.
through the years.
Yeah.
Through the years, yeah. I only lived at home until I was like 26. I mean, it was too good to move out.
Well,
I mean,
and when you're being welcomed with a red carpet, I mean, why would you?
it was great. It was
Yeah.
great.
I mean, I wouldn't. I
Yeah.
mean, my daughter's 26. She's still downstairs.
With an amazing job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing
She
job.
makes more money than me.
All of us. All of us.
Um,
So so anyway, my dad, it's only been months, and where I am now with my dad dying is that I can sit here and talk and laugh, and my brother and I still laugh, and we can tell funny stories without sobbing. I didn't get to that point about my mom
Yeah.
for years.
That's hard. Yeah.
Years. So it's just different, and what we miss him though, we miss that one of
He's
his
so funny.
So one of his police buddies said he's the grumpiest, nicest man you'll ever meet.
But let me tell you this story. He has the most volunteer hours in the city of League City, over 8,000 hours. And now there is a charity golf tournament on May 12th in his honor. Now it's called the John Paul, is it charity golf tournament? Memorial golf tournament.
Something like that.
And I'm going to volunteer.
Yeah, we're going to volunteer.
But anyway, I just think that's amazing, and he deserved it.
Yeah.
Because not everybody gives their time to other people at all. At all. And he went over and above. My in-laws are like that. So they kind of taught me that, Not that my mom wouldn't have done it. She had 7 kids.
Yeah,
She was busy.
She's a little different.
Yeah, but they kind of taught me about giving back, and it's really important to me to be that way.
Yeah.
Because I've been given a lot of nice, not physical. I've had a good life,
Yeah.
and I know that some people don't get that ever. So I try to give back.
Yeah.
In some ways and somehow. But anyway,
that
I'm
was
excited for that golf tournament.
Yeah, me too. That was a very, very big part of him. He really, really believed in what do you call it? Community service, I guess.
Yeah.
Just everything was sports, and then he got involved. Yeah, the police is something he got involved with. Like after he retired, because I don't think he really could relax. I mean, he was at that PD. I think like 4 days a week, like a real job.
Yeah.
But I always said, Dad,
And he wanted to carry a gun, I think.
Yeah, that he loved carrying his gun. And I always said, Dad, all these hours you put in, why don't you get a job and make some money? Bring home a paycheck. And he's like, no, because then I have to, listen to a boss. Even though he always said my boss when he was talking about Todd, but I think if Todd ever got sideways or something, I think my dad would, because of the fact it wasn't a true paying job, he might have hit the road or something. I don't know, but he loved that. They were so good to him. Anyway, we miss him. And it's still fresh.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah. But although that heaven's getting real crowded.
I know. So if you let's say tonight you go to sleep and you woke up tomorrow and it was 1995, what was the first thing you would do?
If it was 1995?
Yeah. You woke up and you're like, time went backwards.
Oh. Well, 1995 when my parents were still here? Both?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
You'd go hug your parents.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I was like, that's a very good question. I like that.
It is.
Makes you think about, because, Kennedy was born in 1995, so I would go back and I would squeeze Chase really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the dream is supposed to be, it continues that way. They just asked me that question, what would you do if you went back?
For some reason, those kind of questions make me, I feel like I have to think really hard about it, just because I feel like I'm only going to be able to choose one answer. No. Okay, so because there's yes, I would, the hugs. My dad wasn't a huge hugger, but my mom.
He hugged me.
Oh no, he liked you.
Kiddo.
Maybe more than kiddo.
Kiddo, what's up, kiddo?
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you for doing this, because I know kind of revisiting these stories are not easy. They're not easy for me. I mean, you can see I keep getting moist around the eyes. Moist. But, I hate that word.
Yeah. It's
not easy, though.
No, it's not. And it's so, I can tell the story, and I seem so strong about it, and just so, sure of myself about it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel when I'm telling you the story or tell people the story, and I will tell the story all the time. Mm-hmm. But it's when when I'm by myself and if I start thinking about things, that's when I do not feel strong.
Yeah.
I don't have this, brave face.
Yeah.
So, I was really glad when you started doing this, because I really thought you've really come a long way.
Yeah.
What you've experienced, you with Chase, your whole entire family, I always say to everyone all the time, they're just the strongest family, most amazing family, been through so many things and persevering in the most amazing ways. And I felt like this also, for you, this podcast would be just a great way for you to talk.
Yeah. I mean, it helps me, but I really want to help someone else.
Yeah.
And I know I spoke with a friend that, I asked her to come on, and she was going to do it, and then all of a sudden she's like, I don't think I can do it. I can't, and that's completely fine. There is no judgment there. Sometimes people don't want to think about it.
Right.
And I get it, but if you could just help one person figure out, one of my friends just lost her mom Sunday. And maybe she'll watch this and go, okay, maybe I could be like Terry Lynn. I'm going to be okay. It just may not be today.
Yeah. Because it's been, was 2001. So how many years has that been?
20.
Can you do math?
4 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Darby's age.
Yeah.
I always can figure out that because it's how she died when Darby was 6 months old.
Yeah.
So that's how I can always keep track of that. And 24 years that and now I mean I'm an old lady now, but 24 years without my mom. So this is something super interesting, poignant. I don't know what the right word is, but my sister-in-law's name is Paige. She has a wonderful family, and when her parents were having their 60th wedding anniversary, I believe, we went to Lumberton and we had a little party. Her parents were wonderful, so cute, really just two peas in a pod, never left each other's side. And and her mom had all these pictures like hanging on all the walls in the hallway. And going back to, I mean, she was probably in her late 70s at this point. So going back so many years ago, you know, when she was a kid, and she was going through all these pictures like it happened to her yesterday.
Isn't that amazing?
It was so amazing to me. But also what I was going to say about the thing about this death and grieving. So her mom, Paige's mom, Kay was her name, was probably in her 70s. And she was talking about her mom like it was yesterday. And
Yeah.
she was the story she was telling, the emotion, and talking about how much she missed her. And I just remember, I mean, Paige's parents could talk. They loved to talk, and they could tell great stories. Brad and I were just always sitting there listening to their stories. But I could feel her pain talking about her mom. And I just remember going, oh my God.
You're like, it never ends.
It never
right?
ends.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, but so in a way, you know, we're glad it doesn't end, right?
Yeah.
We're glad we have the pain and the love, but at the same time, I was like,
Well, you know what the definition of grief is? It's
Having
love
loved
with,
or something?
love with no place to go. Because you can't hug them, you can't tell them you love them. I mean, you can if you think
Sure.
they're listening.
Sure.
But you know what I mean. You know, it's just, and I think for a long time that was my hardest thing. Is like, I'm never going to see him again. That's all I could think. I'm never going to see him again. And it's just different when it's your child. For me, because you know I lost my dad, but
Yeah.
and I was a little girl too, where I remember being in pain, but I don't remember. It just was different. I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, and what was my point of this? Oh, I just had to start telling myself I'm going to see him again. You know, hopefully in heaven. You
well,
know,
I thought hopefully no time soon, though.
no. I got things to do. I don't
Yeah,
have
you got things
grandkids
to
yet.
do.
I would like a grandkid. I would like to see my kids, my daughter, one day find a suitable mate. That's going to be the hard one. No. I
Well.
tease her and say I'm going to do an arranged marriage. She's like, yeah, I don't think so. No, it's not happening.
Let me know when we're starting that. Okay.
Oh, you're going to help?
yes. But yeah, I know, like, and I totally understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have that with you because that's what I'm talking about my mom. Like, we talked about those things,
Yeah.
and she didn't get it, and
Yeah.
so it's just people don't realize. And I'm not saying this in a mean or ugly way, but people really don't realize, like, on a day-to-day basis, when you go to your mom's birthday,
And it might be the last. You don't know.
you don't realize like how lucky you are, or even a
Yeah.
phone call,
Yeah.
a phone call to complain about things or whatever. I mean, you know, like for people's your parent, your mom, not your dad, so because that was really unfair. To just know, you know, your mom knows that you're taken care of. She knows you're
Yeah.
happy. She
Yeah.
knows. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, your mom knows that. I'm like, but I don't want her to know it like that. I want her to know it.
Yeah, here.
I'm sure she knows.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. Is that how you'd want your mom to know it? And I
Yeah.
know I can
Yeah.
get real, you know,
Yeah.
snooty
It's
with
okay.
it. But, and I know people are just, people to say things to just try to make you feel better or whatever. Or that people don't know what to say when you truly, really start getting into the nitty gritty sometimes.
Right. And think about how many people you've heard saying, I can't stand my mom. And doesn't that just like make you want to
Oh, yeah.
throw up? Like it feels like someone punched me in the stomach. I'm like, how can you say that? Maybe it's just because we had great moms, you know. And I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But I still, even if I thought I don't think I could say it verbally, I don't think that at all. Mom, don't think that.
Carol.
Yeah. But that's sad to me.
Yeah, it is. And so, yes, we are very fortunate to have great moms. And you just truly, truly, really need to, I don't know what the right word is, day to day,
Embrace them.
people say things that sound, cheesy or cliche.
Yeah.
But every day truly is a really big deal.
Yeah,
it really is. And like with my dad.
Yeah.
My dad was in, verbatim from the doctor, remarkable health for a man his age. Boom, gone.
Yeah.
I mean, so we really, really need to really take each day like it's I don't want to say live each day like it's your last, but we've tried to do that. And surprised we're still here, but well, we've had so much fun. And
We have had fun.
yeah, we have.
And we're going to have lots more fun.
Yeah, lots more fun.
And like I said, I really appreciate you doing it. It's not for everybody. It's a difficult thing to talk about. And
Well, I have to say the
it means a
anxiety
lot.
of leading up to it, I think, was more for me because I was like, I'm really not good talking about.
It's hard to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just, like you said, I feel like I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
And I have more to say, but we don't need to be here all day.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. It's next year. Yeah. No, and I think we'll help somebody. And that's really all I care about. And I couldn't do this about Mother's Day without talking about your dad because it's so recent.
Yeah.
And we loved him.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I think the podcast is really cool, and I think the the way you categorize different things is cool. And then you said you wanted to have a Mother's Day thing. So at first, when you said you were going to do it, I was like, well, I'm not doing it. But then when the way you brought it to me, you said I would really like to do kind of mothers, and I thought, you know what, that sounds like I'd like to do that. I'd like to be with Tracy.
And just if you imagine, what if she really was listening? And she'd be so proud of you. I know she would.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Super proud.
Yeah, and it's as the years have gone on, it's so, like we were saying about Paige's mom missing her mom, and
Yeah.
when things still happen today. I mean, I remember when Chase died, and I just was like, she couldn't have handled this. There's things that I've thought about that.
Yeah.
She couldn't have handled this. She couldn't have handled that. Now, there's no way that I'm thinking, I'm glad she's gone. But, but I'm just saying, I know when these tragic things have happened, and I've tried to, she's who I think about.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, she couldn't have handled it. But she would have. But it's just.
Well, knowing that she's there with him, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, there's not. We're overcrowding it up there, I think, with all of our people.
Well, the older we get, then,
Yeah.
But we're not going to think about that for now.
No.
Thank you. And you know how much I love you.
I love you. Is that it?
Unless you want to talk some more.
Thank you for
All right.
having me.
Yes, and thanks for listening. And we will be back soon. Thank you.